Welcome to Messages from the Universe with Laurie Wondra. Laurie is an internationally renowned psychic medium, author, and shamanic practitioner, sharing insights from angels, guides, wisdom keepers, and teachers of the universe that help you navigate life's mysteries and transformations.
Hello, I am Laurie Wondra, and thank you for listening. What's up for the energy of 2026? As we step into 2026, something profound is happening beneath the surface of all our lives, and you can feel it. The heaviness of the past year is lifting. The long exhale is complete, and now the universe is asking us to inhale again. It's the new breath of new life. 2025 was a universal year of 9, a year of endings and closures and deep soul release, and it stripped us down to what was true, what was essential, and what could no longer come forward with us. And now, in 2026, we cross a powerful threshold. This is a universal year of 1, the beginning of an entirely new 9-year cycle. This is not just a new year. This is rebirth, and we are feeling it. We are not the same people we were when the last number 1 year opened back in 2017. We have lived through awakenings, reckonings, grief, expansion, and profound inner healing and change. The past cycle reshaped us, and now, in 2026, arrives as a year of creation, ignition, innovation, and courageous new beginnings. In numerology, the number 1 is the spark, the visionary, the initiator, the energy that moves first. It asks us to step forward not from fear or habit, but from alignment, to choose consciously, to create intentionally, to lead our own lives with clarity and confidence. This is the year the seed breaks open, not because it's easy, but because it's time and we're pushing for new growth. It needs more space. Astrologically, energetically, and numerologically, 2026 is a call to pioneer new pathways in consciousness, in healing, in how we express our gifts and how we share power, both within ourselves and with the world. I also believe in 2026, it's a new definition of time, our timeline, where we spend time or where we don't spend time, what we focus on or not focus on, how we feel about time, how we claim it, or how we release it. So in this episode, we're going to explore what this new cycle means for you, what energies are shaping 2026, and how this universal number year 1 activates your zodiac sign, what seeds your soul might be ready to plant for the next 9 years. The invitation is simple and it's profound. Trust the beginning. Trust who you are becoming and trust what you are ready to create from that truth. Before we jump into the zodiac signs, let's talk about the numerology of 2026, the universal year of 1. In numerology, 1 represents creation, independence, and originality. It is the number of the visionary, the initiator, the one who moves first. And when the universal vibration carries the number 1, we are all called to step forward to plant seeds for what will unfold through the next 9-year cycle, which is 2026 through 2034. The frequency of the 1 year is about new beginnings. The cosmic slate is clean. Every choice writes the next story. It's not a continuation of the past. It's about leadership and sovereignty, taking ownership of your energy, your vision, and your voice. It's about creative manifestation. The universe mirrors where you focus. What you believe becomes form. It's about courage and confidence because the number 1 is ruled by the sun. It's about illumination, self-expression, and divine will. It's about rebirth and identity, shedding the past self to embody a more authentic vibration of being. You are who you are today because of your past, but it's not a repeat of the past. The number one year is the inhale after the long exhale, and it demands clarity, faith, and bold movement. Ask yourself throughout 2026, who am I becoming? And what am I ready to create from that truth? Now let's look at the planetary overview of 2026 because it is a year of activation, repatterning, and embodied vision. Astrologically, 2026 is a threshold year. It marks the movement when long gestating visions are no longer meant to remain theoretical or spiritual ideals. They must be lived, tested, experienced, and embodied. The dominant theme of the year is activation. It's new structure, new leadership models, and a reimagining of how power, creativity, and responsibility are expressed both personally and collectively. All of the outer planets have now completed or begun major sign changes. This sets a fresh, energetic architecture that will shape the next decade. It's also why 2025 and the preceding years leading up were more challenging because they were clearing that pathway for us to seed for the new. So let's start by looking at Pluto. Well, Pluto has been in Aquarius starting in 2024, the planet of death and rebirth, and it is there in Aquarius until 2043. That's the long revolution of consciousness. Pluto continues its historic journey through Aquarius. That transit that lasts until 2043. This is a once-in-a-generation shift, redefining how humanity understands power, truth, technology, and community. And we're feeling that shift and those changes now. Collectively, Pluto in Aquarius dismantles outdated hierarchies and accelerates decentralization. It's about innovation, humanitarian movements, spiritual science. And boy, we don't see those two words put together very often. It's about collective intelligence coming to the forefront alongside necessary reckonings around misuse of technology, power, or control. And individually, this transit asks a profound question. How do I contribute to collective evolution without sacrificing my authenticity? The call is not to disappear into the group collective, but it's to bring your unique frequency and your unique being, your calling into service of the whole. The universe is going to push or pull or show you where you best can put those frequency, those tools, those skills that you have to use. And Saturn, well, from Pisces into Aries, this is about from spirituality, responsibility to courageous action. Saturn completes its final lessons in Pisces during the early part of 2026, concluding a cycle that has demanded spiritual maturity, emotional accountability, and discernment between illusion and truth. In February of 2026, Saturn enters Aries, and that initiates this bold new era where Pisces asked us to dissolve. Aries asks us to act, to take action. Spiritual insight must now become lived discipline. Vision must translate into leadership, boundaries, and initiatives. This truly does mark the beginning of a multi-year process of rebuilding identity, authority, and responsibility from the inside out, no longer waiting for permission, but acting from inner alignment. And then Jupiter in Leo from mid-2026. This is about creativity expansion and heart-led leadership. Jupiter enters Leo in the middle of 2026 and where it will remain through the end of the year. I call this one out because this transit amplifies creativity, courage, generosity, and self-expression. It invites us to lead from the heart rather than from fear or obligation. Jupiter in Leo reminds us that joy, creativity, and visibility are not indulgences. They are sources of vitality and inspiration for others. This is a powerful placement for artists, for teachers, for healers, and leaders who are willing to be seen. The deeper lesson at this time is true leadership radiates, it doesn't dominate. True light shines through. And Neptune moves into Aries starting January 26th of 2026. This energy is about living the vision. One of the most significant shifts of the year occurs as Neptune enters Aries, where it will remain for many years. This is the end of an era of passive dreaming and the beginning of active spiritual courage. Neptune in Aries ignites the desire to live one's ideals, not merely contemplate them or dream about them. Faith becomes embodied. Spirituality becomes movement, activism, creation, and personal courage. This transit can be profoundly inspiring, but it also demands responsibility. Convictions must be examined. Visions must be grounded. And idealism without integrity simply will not hold. And Uranus moves into Gemini in April of 2026. This is about revolution of mind and language and communication. Uranus entering Gemini in April of 2026 electrifies how information moves throughout the world. This begins a rapid evolution in communication, education, media, transportation, and technology. Expect breakthroughs and disruptions in how ideas are shared. New voices emerge. Old narratives fracture and fall away. Mental flexibility becomes essential. And on a personal level, Uranus in Gemini challenges rigid thinking and rewards curiosity and openness and the ability to be adaptable. It's a lifelong learning process, and we're given the opportunity to jump into it in 2026. Now, I can't talk about any year without talking about the eclipses, because eclipses are gateways, but they're also the opportunity for us to course correct anything that is off. It's also an opportunity where timelines shift. They're energetic gateways. They're accelerating endings and beginnings. And in 2026, 4 eclipses reshape collective and personal trajectories. Let's start by looking at February 17th, the solar eclipse in Aquarius. Now, this one is powerful. It's new moon, solar eclipse in Aquarius. It's also the Chinese New Year, where we welcome the year of the fire horse. This is a reset around community, innovation, and future vision. New social and technology pathways emerge. This, I believe, is really the start of like the new year. Then we have the full moon on March 3rd. It's the lunar eclipse in Virgo. And Virgo's archetype is I analyze. So this is accumulation focused on healing, discernment, health, and practical refinement. What is no longer efficient or aligned comes to completion. And August 12th, we have our second solar eclipse that's in Leo. This is a powerful ignition of creative purpose. This is around leadership and heart-centered expression. New identities and callings emerge. And the final eclipse of 2026 is August 28th, and that's the lunar eclipse in Pisces, and that's emotional and spiritual closure. It's about compassion, where our energy and our emotional health deepens. Illusions dissolve and surrender. We restore our inner truth to our inner knowing. And together, these eclipses ask us to balance vision with practicality, individuality with service, and creativity with responsibility. I also want to touch on some key retrograde cycles. I tend to not get too wrapped up. Oftentimes, retrogrades are looked at as more fear-based, but they really are an opportunity for us to internalize. They are the universe's place for us to recalibrate and look at them as a place of pausing and bringing in the information that we've been collecting outwardly and bringing it inwardly and see how it applies to us as individuals. So first of all is the Mercury retrograde, and that occurs 3 times during the year. That invites reflection around structure and planning. And we experience one the early year. That's about structure and planning. The second one is mid-year. That's about emotional communication. And the depth of truth and perception is in the latter part of the year. And then we have Venus retrograde, and that's in the fall time period, autumn of 2026. And that offers us a deep review of relationships, what we value, what does intimacy mean to us, and more importantly, what's our relationship with ourself? What is our self-worth? What is authentic love? And what is habit or obligation? And lastly, Mars retrograde is in December of 2026, moving into also early of 2027, and that slows external momentum so inner motivations can realign. I like this placement because typically in the winter months where we are going into hibernation or slowing down, we also are in this frantic Christmas season and the new year. And so Mars allows us this extra energy to internalize. It's going to call us to look at our communication patterns, our mental focus, and the use of one's voice all have the opportunity to undergo great transformation at the end of 2026. So overall, the essence of 2026 is it's not a quiet year, but it is a meaningful one. And I don't want you to be scared because 2025 certainly was not a quiet year. But 2026 is different because it calls for courage, clarity, conscious participation in change. That means you can't just sit back and watch the world change around you. The world is asking you, what do you want to change? What dreams do you have that must be grounded? What power have you felt has been lost or hidden? What must be brought forward in yourself for your leadership, for your voice? And certainly creativity must be embodied. And please don't say you're not creative. I'm not talking about all the artists and the painting and those types of creative that we have locked into a stereotype in our mind. Creativity comes in our thoughts, our thinking, our curiosity. It certainly comes in the artistry of pottery and painting and dancing and movement. But we are all creative problem solvers. And this is a time for you to be the creative master of your journey. This is a year where vision becomes movement, where living in alignment is no longer optional. It is the path forward. That's why I say it is a year that we will be all looking at our timelines and what time means to us. And that thought of like, I don't have enough time. You do. You have plenty of time. Reframe how you define your time. Now, the collective energy of 2026 is about rebirth of self-leadership, owning your choices and trusting inner guidance. And if you decide you've made a poor choice or you don't like the choice that you've made, make a different choice. It's also about innovation through unity, collaborating without conformity. It's about heart-centered creation, leading with compassion, expressing from authenticity. It's about integration of spirit and structure, bridging that mysticism with material form. It's the spiritual and the science coming together even more. And it's about a new human frequency. It's awakening multidimensional awareness in everyday life, not just when you meditate or when you exercise or when you do certain activities. It is living in this multidimensional, multi-heart space that you have the capability of being. The higher octave of 2026 is the merging of our head, heart, and purpose. It's the emotional, it's the mental, it's the spiritual. Those coming together. It's not about running faster. It's about creating consciously. Okay, before I jump into the individual zodiac signs, I want to give you a quarterly view. This is new this year, but I want to look at the seasonal energy flow of 2026. We start by looking at January to March, what we consider winter in the Northern Hemisphere. This is the seed of vision. And 2026 opens with a powerful emotional and structural reset. The full moon in Cancer on January 3rd illuminates our inner world, highlighting emotional truth, safety, and the desire to belong. The new moon in Capricorn, then on January 18, anchors intention into form, asking us to build what will last. This is a season of alignment, aligning our heart and responsibility, feeling deeply, and then choosing wisely. Then we have 2 eclipses that activate the late winter threshold. February 17th, the solar eclipse in Aquarius opens a new future-oriented timeline around community, innovation, and conscious participation. Here's another opportunity of defining our time and how we spend our time or define it. Then we have the March 3rd lunar eclipse in Virgo, and that completes a cycle of healing, discernment, and practical refinement. And together, these eclipses ask us to bring spiritual vision into daily life. It's living more spiritually, not just when we think about it, but practicing it and living it, embodying it. And we have spring, April to June. This is about emergence and activation. And as the sun moves through Aries and Taurus and Gemini, momentum builds. Saturn's recent entrance into Aries shifts the collective tone from contemplation to action. This is a season of initiation, but it's not recklessness. Saturn reminds us, stay strong, but start wisely. And Uranus enters Gemini in April, and that is about electrifying communication, learning and idea exchange. New conversations emerge. Old narratives loosen, fall away. And curiosity becomes a catalyst. Venus moves through Taurus and Gemini, and that supports connection, creativity, and the joy of sharing ideas. Yet, Saturn continues to caution against rushing what requires depth. And summer, this is July through August, this is creative expression and soul alignment. This mid-year energy brings a noticeable lift in confidence and expression as Jupiter enters Leo, amplifying creative courage and heart-led leadership. This is the season of visibility. It's stepping into your light and allowing your gifts to be seen. And we have the second eclipses. Arriving August 12th, the solar eclipse in Leo ignites new creative identities and calls forth authentic self-expression. And August 28th, the lunar eclipse in Pisces brings emotional and spiritual closure, dissolving old sacrifices and restoring compassion with boundaries. The pairing of these eclipses lead us to more heart-centered actions without losing ourselves. And we close out 2026 in the autumn season, September to December. This is about integration and mastery. And the final quarter of 2026 is quieter but deeply formative. With eclipse cycles complete and Jupiter settled in Leo, attention then turns to integration, how we live what we've awakened. The Venus retrograde in autumn of 2026 invites a review of relationships, what we value, and our emotional truth. Love becomes more honest. Superficial patterns fall away. And by December, Mars stations retrograde in Gemini, slowing external momentum so inner clarity can emerge. This is a great time of year for Mars to go retrograde. It helps us with communication, motivation, and mental focus, where we can refine those things in our life in preparation for what's ahead in 2027 and the next phase of activation. This is not a season of endings, but of embodiment, learning how to carry the new self forward with integrity. 2026 opens a brand new 9-year cycle. This is not a year of drifting or waiting. It's a year of choice, identity, and embodied creation. It's initiatives and actions. With Saturn and Neptune both entering Aries, Pluto established in Aquarius, Uranus shifting into Gemini, and Jupiter activating Leo mid-year, every sign is asked to step forward more consciously. Are you ready to jump into the impact for each sign? I would suggest you listen to both your sun and your rising sign, and some like to also listen to your moon sign. So Aries, this is the birth of the self. Your theme is identity, leadership, and aligned action. 2026 is a turning point year for you. With Saturn and Neptune entering your sign, you are stepping into a new era of self-definition. Old identities dissolve. New leadership emerges, quieter, truer, and more spiritually anchored. The Virgo Pisces eclipses ask you to heal the imbalance between service and exhaustion. Mid-year, Jupiter in Leo reignites joy, creativity, and confidence, reminding you that leadership doesn't have to be heavy or hard. By year's end, Mars retrograde in Gemini rewires how you communicate and act, teaching you to respond rather than react. Your growth focus for this year is about leading from integrity, not urgency. And your mantra is, I initiate from alignment, not pressure. And Taurus, well, this is about redefining stability. Themes for you are grounded growth and emotional security. Uranus continues its long transformation of your sign. And in 2026, you are no longer resisting change. You're learning to work with it. Stability becomes something you create, not something you cling to. Jupiter in Leo mid-year highlights home roots and emotional foundations. You may move, renovate, or redefine what safety means. And the eclipses support health, rhythm, and sustainable living. Now, autumn brings relationship clarity as Venus retrograde asks you to reassess pleasure, intimacy, and your own self-worth. Your growth focus is about building a life that nourishes your nervous system. Your mantra is, I create peace by honoring my truth. And Gemini, your voice awakens. Your theme is about communication, curiosity, and conscious expression. 2026 invites you to speak with intention. Uranus entering your sign electrifies your mind and opens new channels of learning, teaching, and innovation. Ideas come quickly. Discernment becomes your superpower. And mid-year, Jupiter in Leo expands your voice and your visibility. Writing, speaking, podcasting, or teaching are all highlighted. The eclipses draw attention to balancing professional demands with emotional needs. And late in the year, Mars retrograde in your sign slows momentum so your voice can mature. Your growth focus is communicate what matters, not everything. A mantra is my words carry wisdom. And Cancer, this is about emotional sovereignty. Your theme is security, worth, and soul-aligned abundance. The year opens with a full moon in Cancer, offering emotional release and renewal. You are learning that sensitivity is not a weakness, it's a guidance. And mid-year, Jupiter in Leo supports growth in self-worth, finances, and personal value. The eclipses activate learning, your belief systems, and daily rituals, helping you anchor faith into practice. This is a year of emotional mastery through gentleness. Your growth focus is trust your emotional intelligence, and your mantra is my sensitivity is my strength. And Leo, this year is about heart-led expansion. Your theme is authentic leadership and creative visibility. Mid-2026 marks a powerful shift as Jupiter enters your sign, expanding confidence, opportunity, and self-expression. This is your green light. But Saturn also reminds you to lead with humility and integrity. The Leo solar eclipse in August activates a new identity cycle for you. You are stepping into a version of yourself that feels more honest and embodied. And autumn invites refinement rather than excess. Your growth focus is lead with generosity, not ego. And your mantra is, I shine in service to truth. And Virgo, this is about sacred realignment. Your theme is purpose, healing, and inner authority. The eclipses across Virgo and Pisces bring pivotal shifts in identity, relationships, and health. This is a year of profound recalibration, not forcing outcomes, but aligning with what is sustainable. You may feel called to redefine your role as healer, guide, or teacher. Though Jupiter does not yet enter your sign, 2026 prepares you for visibility in 2027. And your growth focus is release perfection, embody presence, and your mantra is, I serve through alignment, not sacrifice. And Libra, this is about inner balance and outer truth. Your theme is self-connection and relationship integrity. Relationships continue to evolve, but the focus shifts inward. Venus retrograde in autumn asks you to redefine what harmony truly means, starting with how you treat yourself. The eclipses support emotional honesty and spiritual clarity, and by year's end, you feel more anchored in your own center. Your growth focus is choose authenticity over approval, and your mantra is harmony begins within me. And Scorpio, this is a year about rebuilding roots. Your theme is belonging, emotional power, and renewal. With Pluto anchoring in Aquarius, foundational aspects of your life transform: home, family, and emotional security, and you may redefine where and with whom you belong. The eclipses activate creativity, joy, and vision, and Jupiter supports relational healing and deeper emotional trust. Your growth focus is create safety from the inside out, and your mantra is I transform by grounding my truth. And Sagittarius, your 2026 theme is about wisdom and precision. Your theme is expansion and discernment. 2026 redefines your natural desire to explore. Mid-year, Jupiter in Leo supports relationships, teaching, and inspired visibility. You're meant to be seen, but clarity also matters. And late year, Mars retrograde invites reflection around partnerships and shared values. Your growth focus is let wisdom guide enthusiasm, and your mantra is I expand with integrity. And Capricorn, 2026 is about spiritual authority. Your theme is legacy, teaching, and conscious structure. You are integrating mysticism with mastery. And early 2026 supports writing, teaching, mentoring, and spiritual communications. The eclipses deepen your understanding of faith meeting form. This is not about climbing. It's about anchoring wisdom. Your growth focus is about building structures that hold meaning. Your mantra is, I create what endures. And Aquarius, well, this is the year, I would say it's the alchemist. Your theme is about power, identity, and collective purpose. Pluto continues its once-in-a-lifetime transformation of your sign. 2026 intensifies personal empowerment and responsibility. You are becoming a conduit for future vision. Now, mid-year, Jupiter tests collaboration. Independence must coexist with cooperation. And your growth focus is use power cautiously and consciously. And mantra is I embody the future I envision. And Pisces, this is about grounded mysticism. Your theme is integration, boundaries, and living the vision. The eclipses across your sign bring spiritual renewal and emotional clarity. And Saturn asks for boundaries. Neptune moves into Aries, encourages action. And this is a year, or the year, your spirituality becomes practical. The growth focus area is anchoring in intuition into form. And your mantra is, I bring heaven to earth through grounded action. Now, 2026 is not just another year. It is a threshold of a new human cycle. The universal year of one is the seed point of rebirth, innovation, and awakening. And each of us carries the responsibility and the privilege of creation. This year, the cosmic invitation is clear. Step forward, believe in your light, and act with integrity. As we cross this new threshold, remember you are both the seed and the sower. You are the dreamer and the builder. You are the light and the container of that light. The story of the next 9 years begins now, written through your courage, your initiative, your action. But it can begin now. May 2026 be the year you plant the seeds of your most radiant being. I'm sending you hugs and love and peace and joy and happiness for the best in 2026 and beyond. I'm Laurie Wondra of Your Life Core, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Messages from the Universe. For information about Laurie Wondra's current events or to schedule a private session, visit her website, yourlifecore.com. You can also subscribe to her monthly newsletter. Laurie also shares inspirational and informational messages on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.